see the large animals first, the sagittal section. So you can, it's a little bit stinky, but you have to understand that the specimens sometimes are difficult to preserve. But this is a very good sagittal section of a horse. We have the bovine right there. So let's start with the horse. And you will see, even though this is not a good section in the middle, I want to move part of this tissue so you can have a better idea. The nasal septum, which is the cartilage, is removed, so you can see some of the conchas in one side. This is part of the concha of the other side. This is the dorsal concha right there, and you can see that it's missing a little part there, but that's the dorsal concha. This is the ventral concha, really big, and these are additional ethmoturbinates. So you can see how the horse has a very well-defined dorsal concha and ventral concha, like the bovine too, but the bovine also has a middle concha very well-defined. So that would be the middle concha. We said that the dorsal concha is a projection of the ethmoid. So that's exactly what happened. This guy is a projection of the ethmoid. This is also a projection of the ethmoid. In the bovine, the dorsal and the middle one are both projections of the ethmoid. Those ones too, the little ones there. And the ventral concha, which is this one here, the bony structure of the concha is an independent bone. It doesn't belong to the ethmoid. Okay, so that was one of the things that we talked today. Another thing that is interesting is, let's see this one, I think it's easier here. The concept of nasal meatus, or nasal spaces, or meatus. The dorsal nasal meatus would be this one here. Remember, it's like a space in between, here would be this one, like a space in between the ceiling of the nasal cavity, which is given by the nasal bones, and the dorsal concha. That space will be the dorsal nasal meatus. Then there is another space between the dorsal and the ventral concha, which would be this one, and that would be the middle nasal meatus. And then, I think you look right here, there is another one here, between the ventral concha and the floor of the nasal cavity. What bone is giving the floor of the nasal cavity? Which one? Very good. There is the vomer will be right there. And if we go ventral to the vomer, we are going to get to the maxilla and to the incisive also, and part of the palatine bone. So the palatine, the maxilla, and the part of the incisive. So those bones are going to give the ventral aspect or the floor of the nasal cavity. And again, the space right there in between would be the ventral nasal meatus. And there is a common nasal meatus, and that would be the space between all the conchas and the nasal septum, which has been removed here. So the nasal septum is a cartilage that is dividing the nasal cavity in left and right compartments.
Can you see the vomer?
No, the vomer here is kind of difficult because I know where it is, right there,
Okay.
but it's not dissected. It's a bone that is like a V shaped, so it's right there.
Okay.
Another interesting thing, this is a horse again, and you can see that in the sagittal section there is a big opening here. And that opening will be the guttural pouch. So the guttural pouch is a huge opening. And that bone there will be the stylohyoid bone. So the stylohyoid bone is part of the hyoid apparatus. That's the one that is going to project itself to articulate with the styloid process in the large animals. The stylohyoid bone will project itself to articulate in the mastoid process in the dog. There is a little difference in that too, in the dog and the large animals. But do you see how the stylohyoid bone will separate all the guttural pouch in lateral and medial compartments? So that's the lateral, that's the medial. This and that. And there are several nerves. I don't want you to know that now, but all of these nerves that you see here are cranial nerves that are emerging very close to the wall of the guttural pouch. So those nerves can be compromised if there is an infection of the guttural pouch. And those nerves are mainly 4 of them: the hypoglossal, the spinal accessory nerve, the glossopharyngeal, and the vagus nerve. So we will see a little bit more of that in the next lab. What is this? That's the opening of the auditory tube. So that's the opening of the auditory tube in the nasopharynx. So here is the nasopharynx. Again, this is the soft palate. So dorsal to the soft palate, we can find the nasopharynx. And this would be the opening of the auditory tube. And the auditory tube, again, is just the same as in the other species, but the auditory tube in the horse has a very big dilation in the ventral aspect, which is the guttural pouch. So this is probably the best species to find this opening. Sometimes in the dog you can see it nicely too, but always find for the opening in the nasopharynx. What else? You can see the frontal sinus here, which we are going to see also in the bovine. The bovine is more extended, and we are going to talk about that in another block. If you look, this is not a good specimen, but the opening for the auditory tube should be right there. It doesn't really look so clear in the bovine, but in the horse you always are going to find it very easily. This is the palatine sinus, another of the paranasal sinuses. And then we can see here also, again, the nasopharynx, the oropharynx. Remember, the oropharynx is ventral to the boundaries of the oropharynx are dorsally the soft palate and the epiglottis. This is the epiglottis of the larynx. So that's the epiglottic cartilage, of course surrounded by mucosa and by soft tissue. So we can see the epiglottis here in the sagittal view. We can also see the arytenoid cartilage. This is the arytenoid. Remember, the arytenoid is a double cartilage. There are 2, one in each side. So